Hi guys, so we are so excited to be back here. I cannot believe we're on episode 5. And today's gonna be a fun one.
It's gonna be a fun one.
So we are your hosts. I'm Cindy.
And I'm Paige.
And this is Mom's the Word, where mom knows best.
Or at least she is trying her best.
We always are.
We always are, every day. I'm super excited
Me
about
too.
today's episode because we got a little bit in depth with you guys
We did.
and asked y'all, what questions do you want us to answer? What do you want to hear? So we have a couple really fun Q&A questions for you. And a special behind-the-scenes guest is going to read them off to us.
Yes.
Ladies and gents, please meet Ben.
The man behind the camera.
Hello.
Wow.
Whoa. Whoa.
Ben, there are moms listening, okay? Stuck in the house.
Sorry.
Oh, my goodness. Okay. Ben,
Start
what's
us
the first
off.
question?
All right, our first question is, what made y'all want to do this podcast together?
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
We're so opposite, I think.
We are.
Yeah, I think because she has a really awesome insight to what it looks like from a child's perspective or
Right.
even from the parent's perspective
Right.
right now in your existence today.
Yeah. I felt like we had these amazing conversations
Yeah.
as friends
Yeah.
before we decided on the podcast. We would
Yeah.
have these in-depth conversations where I would relate it to me being a foster parent
Mhm.
and her having some lifelong trauma and things like that.
Abandonment issues.
And so it just flowed naturally.
Yeah, and I felt like it also kind of healed a piece of us together as we
Absolutely
were having
does.
those conversations.
Yes.
Like, it made me feel like you doing what you do heals a part of me because I get to witness what it should look like, from that side. And so I think that it just was so natural for us to feel safe to
Yeah.
share.
Yeah, and so about me and Paige is that we knew each other for a few years,
Mhm.
and I felt like I could tell her anything, and I felt very trusted in that she is not going to judge me for that
Yeah.
or talk to anybody else about that. And I don't feel that with a lot of people. And so I loved Paige when I first met her, and so I just felt like we had this connection,
Yeah, absolutely.
and then we decided
Let's just
do a
this.
podcast.
Let's do this. Yeah. We were just talking and talking. I mean, like our voice memos to each other and our
Literally.
text messages go on for hours. So I think that's when we were like, we should just do this. Like,
Yeah.
we should just talk this out loud. So it's been a really exciting journey. And
She threw it out there.
I
And
did.
she's like, "What do you think
I was
about a
like,
podcast?"
hey,
And I was like, full running, like,
immediately. I don't think you've ever responded to a
And I'm
text
like,
message that
"Let's
fast.
go."
You were like,
And she's like,
let's
"Really?"
do it right now.
really right now? So
It took a couple months of planning.
it did.
It
We
did.
we did it the best way that we could. Like we planned and set dates and stuck to
Yeah.
the dates.
Yeah, I genuinely feel like as a mom who's always busy and tired and finds any excuse to get out of anything that I've socially committed to whenever my social battery is full,
Yeah.
I was a little worried that I'd be like,
Yes,
oh, maybe I
same.
don't want to do this
Same.
anymore. Maybe this is going to be too much and it's not going to be enough. But it's just been so much fun. I genuinely am
Me
so
too.
happy we did this.
Yeah. And overall, one of the biggest reasons that I feel like we're doing this is because we feel like there's so many moms out there who need these voices and need
Yeah.
these stories, and even we need to talk about them.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so important in your motherhood journey to find people that you relate to.
Absolutely.
That make you feel comfortable and make you feel safe to say, like, motherhood is really hard. It's the most beautiful thing in my life, but the moms that I love most are the ones that can say, this is the best time of my life and the hardest time of my life
Yes.
at the same exact time.
Exactly.
All right, next question. How did you gals meet? And how do you make time for this friendship?
So I actually shoot my shot to Paige.
Yes.
I really did. I've randomly seen that she lived close to me, and I was like, shoot.
Very close, in
Uh-huh.
fact.
Yep.
Like 15 minutes.
So I swooped in them DMs.
You did. I was actually doing a smile giveaway at
Mhm.
that point. I
Yes.
was doing a smile giveaway for a young woman named Star. Shout out Star. Hey, girl.
Yes.
And Cindy was like, are you going to put together a basket? I love a gift basket is my thing.
Mhm.
It is my thing. If I love you, I'll give you a gift basket. And so I was like, yeah, I'm going to do a gift basket for her. She said, can I come up there with you? And we met at Target.
We did.
We walked around the loungewear section in Target for probably 2 hours
Yep.
trying to find the right set for her to wear and to
Yeah.
make her feel comfortable. And it just, I think, bonded us in a really large way.
Yeah.
Both of us have such community service hearts. We both love to give back in that sense. And so I think finding a mom who was also in the same season of motherhood and someone who was so close and understood what it was like to be
Yes.
viral online.
Yes.
Like all of those things really made our friendship just seamlessly.
And that was in
easy.
2021. like
2020
the end of 2020.
to into 2020.
And after that, we had stayed friends, but
Mhm.
I treat my relationship with people that I really enjoy kind of privately. So people will always
Absolutely.
be like, "Oh, you guys are friends. Y'all live close to each other,"
Mhm.
and we would be talking.
Every day.
And we like, and gradually it was more and more. We would hang out. I'd go to her house, and she went through seasons of life that people doesn't even don't even know that she went through.
Mhm.
I've had children who came to my home
Mhm.
leave us, and she was there for multiple of them. And so our friendship has gone for the last 3 years,
Mhm.
and then it came to this position that we're in now.
Yeah.
But we feel that like when you really find a connection with someone, it's not all about the social media. We weren't
No.
like eager to post a video together.
It's also not all about the time though either because
Right.
we don't have a lot
We
of
do not.
time to spend
Mm-mm.
together. I will say that, as mothers and wives, we have separate lives
Yes.
completely. And so
Yes.
we are constantly prioritizing our families and our
Yes.
lives. Now, granted, moms need breaks. Moms need breaks.
Yes, they do.
And I love a good break with my Cindy. Just go have dinner, to just be able to breathe. Even if it's once a month, I highly encourage you to grab your best friend, go somewhere that you two wanted to go, and just take an hour, take 2 hours to just decompress together. Friendship is so important in
It is.
adulthood. It's really so
Yes.
important that you don't lose the friendships that you have, or at least your ability to find a friendship.
Yes.
So many people get lost in their marriage and motherhood, and I think that they devote their entire lives to that, and then whenever their kids graduate, they're like, where do I
Where'd I
go
go?
now?
Mhm.
What do I do now?
You gotta
And
find that
i'm
person that
i'm
you can.
counting down
Oh yeah.
until we can go on vacations
Oh yeah.
together, you
Absolutely.
know.
Yeah. So it's like it's been a long friendship,
Hmm.
and it's been sporadic because
Hmm.
we have our seasons of life,
Of course.
and we are both in this season of life where our families are our whole life right now,
Hmm.
and I'm happy with that. We're in our mom era,
Yeah.
but we've made time steadily
Hmm.
and poured into each other to create this friendship. So
Yeah.
it's really great.
I think it's also good that you respect whenever I have to do something. If I have to
Absolutely.
cancel on Cindy, it's not she doesn't want to hang out with me, she doesn't want to be around me. It's never an issue
Yeah.
there. It's always she had something going on with her family. And
Yep.
I think that is so important that your friend also understands your priorities.
Absolutely. I agree.
Yeah.
All right, next question. What's your favorite thing about each other?
Ooh.
That's a good
That's so
one.
hard.
We didn't get to think about
I
this
only get to
question.
choose one. Oh, my favorite thing about Cindy, her selfless heart. Cindy has one of the biggest hearts I've ever encountered in my entire life. Genuinely,
Oh,
you're
thank
one of
you
my
so much.
favorite people. When you're around Cindy, you feel love genuinely in everything that she does. If she's getting a bag of chips for you, she's doing it because she loves you and she wants you to be comfortable. It's just like she's so considerate and so thoughtful of everyone that she's around, and just everything she does just kind of feels like a hug. So
Oh, thank
I
you
love
so
it. She's
much.
it's just safe space for me in a big way. I would say that's another thing. It's very hard to choose one, is that just how safe you feel for
Yeah.
me to be able to express everything that I've gone through without judgment and
Yeah.
without worry that you will look at me any differently, because
Yeah.
we both know I've had kind of a crazy journey. And I think every time I drop a bomb on you about something I've done in life, you're just like,
All
okay.
right. All right.
Yeah, so that's really
Thank
nice.
you so much. That's so nice. I also have like a list of things I love about Paige. When I first met her, I seen this light in her that I just loved, and she has this caring part of her that I feel like people see, but they take it for granted a lot. Like they just think she's doing it for a show when she is genuinely a great person, and she pours into people's hearts, not just like who they are, but she made me feel so comfortable as a person. I've had a lot of insecurities in my life with friendships with women, and meeting Paige felt so comfortable. And she boosts you up as a person. She doesn't try to tear you down or make you feel less than. And it's hard to find a person like that who can be a light in her own self and be beautiful, but also like give you a light. And I really appreciate that type of friendship. Someone who can shine shine their light, but also doesn't dim yours. And so I feel like that's really important to find that type of person. And I found that in Paige, and I'm very thankful to have her.
That was so sweet.
We're
What a
never
sweet
that
question.
sentimental to each
Oh
other,
my
you
gosh.
guys.
I don't think I've ever told you anything
No.
like that before. So that was just
No.
that's a lot for me.
Whoa.
We love each other.
I
You
know.
love me.
Love
You
you.
really, really love me.
Did you love being a mom right from the start? First time mom, I feel like I'll never enjoy it.
Oh, Yeah,
So
that's heavy.
that is heavy.
That's heavy.
So that's hard. It's hard for me to say because I struggled with a lot of baby blues and anxiety when I first had my son, but I knew I was supposed to be a mom, and
Yeah.
I loved him wholeheartedly.
Mhm.
It did come very natural for me. The connection came very natural for me.
My connection to the child was very natural. I was in love with the baby, but I will say there was a period where I mourned, genuinely mourned the person that I was before I was a mom.
Right.
I didn't realize that, you think when you get pregnant, you hear pregnant people say, "Oh, I just can't wait to have my body back," because it feels like the baby's in such control of your body. And I thought whenever I had him that I would just immediately go back to how I felt before I was pregnant.
Hmm.
And I didn't. In fact, it increased my anxiety in a lot of ways. And there was just so many things about me that I feel like changed. And it felt like I really went through a mourning period where a part of me felt like I had to let go
Yeah.
of who that person used to be because now I'm a whole different person with different responsibilities
Yeah.
and a different life. I'm living a different life than I was before I was a mom. So I completely understand when you're a first time mom and it just feels like there's so much change.
Yeah.
There's so much change and it can just be so heavy at the same time.
Oh yeah.
Being a mom is beautiful, but it is also very hard.
Yeah.
And it comes with a lot of loss. And one of those losses is your past self. And I think that that can be very difficult and that it's natural to mourn the fact that you didn't realize that was going to
Yeah.
happen.
I think I had a very hard time just navigating how to be a mom, take on this whole responsibility, be now a wife, a stay-at-home mom, and I literally lost myself that
Yeah.
first year of being a mom.
Absolutely.
I lost myself completely. I
Mhm.
look back now and it's a blur.
Oh, yeah.
I
Like I
can't
don't
even
even
tell
remember
you.
chunks of it.
Right. And I just think um, I loved it, but it was the hardest part of my whole life.
Hmm.
That first year
That adjustment period.
was hard.
It is very, very hard. So
Yeah.
know that if you're feeling this right now, you're absolutely not alone, and that there are so many moms and dads that
Absolutely.
have gone through this, and you will come out of this on the other side. If you need help, please reach out to your physician
Please
and
reach
get
out.
help because it's not weak to say that you need it.
And it's not something that can just go away sometimes.
Yeah.
So don't feel like you're afraid to reach out to somebody because someone else is going through it.
Mhm.
So
Sometimes we just need the extra push.
that's right.
Mom's the Word podcast is recorded at the Museum of Neon Lights in Frisco, Texas.
It is a selfie studio open to the public.
Mention the podcast and you'll get an exclusive 10% off.
Why does it feel like I can't have my own opinion when it comes to my own pregnancy?
Who are you talking to about your pregnancy?
Yeah.
Who are you exposing yourself to about it? Because that is one of the hardest things for me is when you say, "Oh, I'm having such a bad day," and they're like, "It's not that bad."
They disregard your feelings. You have
Absolutely.
to find somebody who wants to listen to what you're saying.
Yeah, and somebody that would validate you.
Yeah.
Because the worst thing is a friend that one-ups you.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, that's like,
That's the
"Oh,
worst.
you had a bad day? You should hear about mine."
Yes.
That's one of the worst things ever. So just to have a safe space that
Yes.
validates you is really, really important in this phase of motherhood.
Yes, and when you first get pregnant, everybody wants to give you their opinions and what
Oh,
worked for
yeah.
them, and give you all types of things, and it kind of puts your feelings down. You're like, what should I do? But at the end of the day, you're the only one that matters, and so I would take whatever everybody says with a grain of salt
Yeah.
and make that decision for you, your husband, your child, because people are going to push their opinions on you
Yeah.
now for the rest of your life when you have a child.
You're also the only one that's experiencing that pregnancy.
Yes.
So even my pregnancy was different than Cindy's
Yes.
pregnancy, and I could have felt a certain way that she never felt, and that doesn't mean that my feelings were any less validated than what she went
Yeah.
through. Like you all have your own journey, and I think when you're pregnant, it can be very scary and hard because there's so much information just being thrown at you about delivery,
Absolutely.
anatomy scans, gender like there's just so many different things you had no idea. What is the glucola drink? Like
Oh, yeah,
there's
there's
just
so
so many
much.
things you
So
had
many
no
things.
idea were going to be thrown
And
at
it's a
you.
scary time. You're
Absolutely.
like, oh, I'm growing
And
this baby. Like,
yes,
it's
and you're just
terrifying.
hoping that they're healthy, and everybody has their opinions on what
Uh-huh.
you decide for your child.
Everybody.
They always will. They will always have an opinion. So here's my advice to you, moms and dads. Whenever it comes to your kids, make the best decision that you
That's
can
right.
for your child, and don't give a rat's behind what anybody else thinks about it.
That's right. Make your plan, stick to it,
Mhm.
and don't be afraid to talk. Speak up for yourself, especially in the hospital.
Yes, advocate for yourself.
That's right.
Advocate for yourself, definitely.
Paige, how did you adjust to being a stepmom? I have been one for 3 years, but it's hard.
It's a great question.
Ooh, that is a great question. I will say it was fairly easy because of my co parenting relationship. I was given the space to be a stepmom. So, if that is one of the issues that you're running into and it feels like you just don't belong, maybe what I would suggest is sitting down with the mom and trying to work out whatever is going on so that there can be some sort of a mutual respect between the two of you so
Yeah.
that you will feel like you belong in that position. If it's more about just trying to open yourself up to love the kids, know that it will be hard for them because you're not their mother. And as long as you establish that with them, that you are not trying to be their mother, but just a bonus mom, hopefully they will be open to that. Sometimes it does take patience because all kids are different. I will say Dylan took a little bit longer than Vance, but not too long. Certainly not 3 years. So I would say definitely reach out to the mom, see
Right.
what you can do to feel comfortable in that position with your children, and voice these concerns to your partner as well. That you're just feeling like, what am I supposed to do here? I feel like I don't have a role and I don't know how to get fixed into
That's
it.
great advice. Yes.
Cindy, how do you deal with the negativity from other people over homeschooling?
Ooh.
I love this question.
Me too.
So honestly, my child comes first.
Mhm.
That is the easiest answer that I'm going to give anybody. What my child needs is what he's going to get.
Yep.
And so if any negativity and backlash that I am getting kind of gets disregarded, and we stand strong in our stance on why we homeschool. I'm very big on doing what your child needs. So if one day one of my children need to go to public school, they will. One needs to stay in homeschool, they will. But I find the flexibility of homeschooling for our family works really well. I find that my child thrives in homeschooling, and I also feel like when I'm getting backlash, a lot of people are just uneducated on it. If I'm being quite honest with you, they remember the old homeschooling where you thought children were weird, and we all grew up
The
thinking like,
quiet kids that
yeah, oh, the
only
quiet
stayed at
kids, or
home.
those are the homeschooling kids over there,
Yeah.
right? You grew up thinking that, but I hate to say this, but times have changed, right?
Yeah.
A lot of us who are now raising our children, our generation, see things quite differently, and our children's mental health comes first, and so that's really important to me. And so I used to have a hard time with it because I felt like judged a little bit being a homeschooling mom. But I have found a great community of other homeschooling families, and so now I know what I'm talking about. I know my child is thriving. I know that there is going to be no differences between him and any other children, and so I kind of just let it roll off my shoulders now.
Right.
And
When you know you're doing what's best for
oh,
your
I do.
kid, can you
Yes.
really care what others are thinking?
No,
Yeah.
no, and that's hard to do at first, right?
Of
Because
course.
judgment is rough.
Yeah.
But I can tell you firsthand that doing what's best for your child will benefit your whole family. So, yeah.
How do you deal with the mom guilt of not doing enough for your kids?
This is
It's
a daily
never
occurrence.
enough.
It's never
This is a daily
enough.
occurrence for me. I feel like I'll be in the house too long, and I'm like, oh my god, I need to take my kids outside. Like they haven't got enough fresh air today.
Right. I'll be like, oh, did I clean up everything? When my husband gets home, I'm like, oh, but then again, I'm trying
Yes.
to focus on the time with my kids too.
Yes.
So it's just guilt in every single
Every
corner.
direction. Yeah.
Like that's absolutely a very common
Yeah.
thing with all moms, I
Yes.
think, is that we all feel the guilt and the heaviness. And
Yeah.
frankly, we could be doing absolutely more than
All of
enough,
the
and
things.
we would never think it was enough.
Yeah.
Because we want to do everything that we can for our kids.
Yeah.
And ultimately, I think it's just a sign that you're a really good mom
Yeah.
who's just trying her best and genuinely wants her kids to have the most out of their childhoods.
Yeah. And how I deal with that guilt, like it used to hit me a lot harder than it does now. I've had to let go of a lot of that perfectionism that I wanted to have in being a mother and a wife. And voicing it to my husband was huge. And I know a lot of women have a hard time with that. But to me, once I overcame that, like, I'm failing as a mom and was able to tell my husband, like, I need help in these areas, it helped me lose a lot of that guilt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still think obviously it will creep in just because
Absolutely.
our brains are
Yes.
that way. But
Yes.
having someone that can ground you and say you're doing the best
That's
that you
right.
can, that is so crucial in motherhood.
It is. Yep.
Talk to me about boundaries. How do you practice them, and what have you learned about yourself?
Very weakly, if you're me. No, boundaries are hard, man. Boundaries are really hard because I'm not somebody that likes confrontation.
Right.
And it feels like boundaries often come with confrontation. But I
Absolutely.
will say, if you set a boundary with somebody and they feel that it's disrespect and they feel like they need to cross that boundary, they're not your real friend.
Right.
Because I could set a boundary with somebody that I love and they will be like, okay, I respect
right.
you and I see you and I understand from your perspective.
Yeah. I'm very solid in boundaries. I was
Yeah,
going to say
you
I'm
are.
very strong. I'm very strong minded.
You're better than
And
me.
once I say something, I will stick to that. I've learned a lot through losing friendships and relationships that what I say goes in my
Yeah.
own mind, because if not, my mental health will go down the drain. And so it can be hard when it comes to your kids setting boundaries for things. But I feel like once you've established them and said no the first time, then people are going to start respecting you more. And it's hard to say no. It is so hard to say
It
no.
is very hard. I will say I am not the best at boundaries, so it's understandable if you're not, especially whenever it comes to like friendships and people. And I think it stems a lot from my abandonment issues. So if that's something that you're going through, is it's pretty normal to make that
It
more
is.
difficult. And
Oh, it is.
I think honestly what helped me a lot with setting boundaries is my husband, because
Yeah.
he's a boundary setter and he will hold me to it. He'll be like, no, we're not going to accept that. That's not the way that this is supposed to be. So also having a good supportive partner or a good supportive
Absolutely.
friend in your life that will hold you to your word whenever
Yeah.
you feel a little weak, that can be great too.
Absolutely. I agree.
If you can give any piece of advice to a first-time mom, what would it be?
Oh, I think back of myself as a first time mom,
Yeah.
and
Take your time. Take your time to discover who you are now, to discover your child, and to grow that relationship together, and just be patient with yourself as you figure out that entire journey and that road. It looks different for every single mother. So I feel like taking your time, finding the things that you enjoy. Don't forget to still do
that's
the
right.
things that you enjoy so
Yeah.
that you also don't lose yourself in it too.
Yeah. That was such a great answer. I agree with you completely. Um, I just feel like just take that was the perfect answer. Take your time, give yourself grace, be kind to yourself and everything that you're going
Be
through.
kind to your body.
Yeah. And really just sit in the moment of being a mom and don't be so hard on yourself. Like it's
Yeah.
so easy for us to say that, but don't be so hard on yourself. Like all your kids need is to be loved and cared for. You showing up every day.
They don't care
They
if
don't
the
care.
house has dishes in the
No,
sink.
they don't. They just care that mama was there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
genuinely.
That concludes the list of questions we have. But if I may take us off the script for a second and
Yes.
submit
Oh.
my own question.
Absolutely.
Ben.
Okay,
All right, Ben.
from at that one video man. What is your greatest hope for the impact that this podcast will have?
Wow, Ben.
I know for sure. For me, it's so that there's moms that like me, who look like me, who are like me, that they don't feel so alone. A lot of times, moms, plus size moms that are infertile or, you know, have all these labels put on them, feel less than in a space with a lot of moms who look beautiful and can keep up with all of the things. And I'm hoping that another mom out there will see me and see like, wow, she's trying her best and she's doing all of these things for her kids, and that relates to them. Like I hope that people see me and see how real I can be, and that they feel not so alone, because I felt alone as a first time mom on the internet where all these beautiful moms were in these beautiful Instagrams and thought like, I don't look like that.
Yeah.
And so I hope that they see that, and that the way you look does not reflect the way that you are a parent or a person. So
For me, I think it's very different, and it doesn't even really stem from motherhood so much as I hope that I can be the voice for the parent out there that has a child that doesn't have their other parent, that you can look at me and understand what it looks like from an adult's perspective whenever confidence and love is not ultimately poured into the child,
yeah,
so that maybe you'll see it and make the change and make the difference for your kids so that there will be less pain
I
in
love
our
that.
future generations.
Yeah, I love that. There's so many things that I want to come from this.
Yeah.
Like I want people who come on to share their stories
Mhm.
and be able to just have this whole community of amazing parents, whatever that looks like for you,
Yeah, 'cause it
relate
comes in
to
all
each other.
shapes and sizes.
Uh-huh. And for you to see us and like, this is what a foster mom looks like. This is what a homeschooling mom looks like. This is what an autism mom looks, like I want you to see who we are and how we represent ourselves
Mhm.
because a lot of people put labels on things and they shouldn't. And I feel like we will represent that in a really great way. And the people we bring on will represent that in a really great way as well.
I sure hope so.
Yeah, me too.
All right, guys. Well, that was a very special episode. We
was so
will be
fun.
doing more of those. So stay tuned to our Instagram so that you can submit your question. Also, if you're not following the podcast, please follow. We are on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube.
Yeah. Thank you guys for watching. And as always, keep the giggles going.
And the love flowing.
And until next time,
Mom knows best.
or at least
She's trying her best.